Cheers, mate. Great question and welcome to the page. I'm gonna find my way inside, but then I'll tell you the story.
So basically, I read about cricket in a book. Then I fell in love with it through footy. Now it's my job. I suppose I've been aware of cricket from the time I was a young man, when there was a joking reference made to it in a Ninja Turtles movie that I loved as a child.
Cricket? Nobody understands cricket. I'll teach you. 6 months.
I always had a love for sport, and I was always looking to do something a little bit different than most of my peers, choosing soccer over American football, choosing swimming over basketball, choosing lacrosse over baseball. I went to college expecting to play lacrosse, but by that time I was pretty disillusioned with the culture of American sport, and I made a huge turn and became a theater and history major instead. I decided to write my final thesis paper for my history degree on the development of football throughout the British Empire, focusing specifically on how, even though the sports of Gaelic football and Australian football look very similar today, the actual cultural genesis of those two sports come from very different places. And when you're researching the history of sport within the empire, you very quickly run into stories of the history of cricket. And this was really the first time that I came to understand cricket's history, its gameplay, and its modern popularity. For the next couple of years, I played Gaelic football and hurling in Baltimore and in Philadelphia before moving to New York in 2009, and then quickly getting recruited into an Australian rules football team, the New York Magpies. I had a starting spot on the men's senior side, I was the assistant coach of our women's side, and I even got one international cap for USAA versus Canada A. I really fell in love with the culture of footy, or I guess it's more right to say the culture of Australian sport, because it's these Aussies who I played AFL with who would take us out to the pub and taught us to fall in love with Test cricket. We would get locked into pubs overnight, the beer would be flowing, and we'd watch a Test match from when it started in Australia around 11 a.m. until after 4 a.m. when the day's play was over. So just like a lot of things in my life, after a couple of years, I started to kind of ADHD out on footy a little bit and was looking for something new to do. So it was in the winter of 2012, 2013 where I first seriously considered playing cricket, and I started looking up places I could play. I played initially in this sort of pickup tape ball league in New Jersey because I thought that might be a softer introduction to the game than going straight into hardball cricket, but that was a really rough year. It was this strange pickup league. Nobody would really speak English to me. I didn't really feel welcomed in that group, so by the winter of 2013-14, I joined up with a hardball club, the Columbia Cricket Club of New York City, which was at the time pretty much the only New York City club cricket side who had a website. I started training with them in the winter of 13-14 and then played my first season with them in the spring and summer of 2014, which is the exact same time that I started umpiring, because basically cricket is a much more expensive sport than the football codes that I had played before. You need all of the pads and bat and helmets, and I'd been drafted pretty quickly into being a wicketkeeper because I have a dodgy shoulder. No one was going to teach me how to bowl at the age of 24, 25, and I was a soccer keeper, a football keeper, so I could move laterally and catch things. But in my very first year of playing at Columbia, I also signed up to be an umpire, and I read the laws of cricket online but didn't receive any official training. But basically I needed to do the umpiring on Sundays so that I could pay for all of my kit and all of my subby fees on Saturdays. I then realized pretty quickly that within those leagues at least, nobody was really taking the umpiring seriously, and I had been a soccer referee, a football referee. I had done a bit of officiating in Aussie rules and in swimming as well when I was a kid, so I thought, how is there no association for this? How is nobody taking this umpiring seriously? And it took me 2 or 3 years of umpiring with no certifications to find the USA Cricket Umpires Association and eventually get brought into their training program and taken under their wing. Sorry, not sorry for the long story time. If you're gonna hang out here, you better get used to it.